Warning, the following video contains spoilers for Persona 4. If you'd rather not have major parts of the plot ruined, then you may want to reconsider watching this video, at least for now.
Yeah, no, go play the game. Go do that. So let's talk about Persona. Originally started in 1996 as a spin-off of Atlus's Shin Megami Tensei series, Persona was an attempt to make an RPG series sharing many aspects of the Shin Megami Tensei formula, but placing more emphasis on the cast of characters and how they interact with one another.
Instead of focusing on apocalyptic stories that involved an individual being forced into moral turmoil between chaos and law, the Persona series began to move the focus toward inner demons instead of outer demons, especially once the series reached its third and fourth installments.
With nearly 2 million copies sold worldwide across its PlayStation 2 and Vita releases, Persona 4 was a big success for Atlus, especially in terms of how it handled its cast and themes.
The cast of Persona 4 deals with inner demons much more than the previous 3 installments, and some of these even deal with issues normally considered taboo.
Easily one of the best examples, though, is Naoto Shirogane, a young detective who arrives to the town of Inaba to solve the recent string of mysterious murders. Despite initial appearances and impressions, Naoto is a young woman attempting to masquerade as a man, worrying that a woman would not be taken as seriously in the field of criminal investigation. So what deeper inspirations go into Naoto's character? I'm Austin Eruption.
And I'm the Kitsune Hawk, and today we'll be discussing the aspiring detective and seeker of truth herself, Naoto Shirogane.
So get out your pencils, trivia enthusiasts, because this is character development. When it comes to getting to the core of Naoto's basis as a character, quite a bit can be taken from her name alone. The name Naoto is Japanese for truth or truthful person, which reinforces her occupation as a detective and title of seeker of truth. The meaning of this name could also apply to Naoto's denial of her gender at first, then her acceptance of it after the defeat of her shadow.
The name Naoto is also gender neutral. Not only does this allude to Naoto's attempts to pass herself as male, but this also has to do with the early stages of Persona 4's development. According to the official Persona 4 art book, character designer Soejima Shigenori mentions that Naoto was originally going to be a male character, almost resembling the protagonist of Persona 3 according to initial sketches.
After making some slight modifications to the design, Shigenori decided to make Naoto a female character instead, and it's very likely that he used the already androgynous design to help shape her backstory.
As for Naoto's surname, Shirogane, it translates as White Bell. With regards to Japanese culture, the color white has been a long-standing symbol of purity, clarity, and justice, all elements that once again harken back to her occupation as a detective.
In fact, the Japanese connection between the color white and justice goes back as far as the 7th century. From 603 to 647 CE, the Japanese imperial government operated on what was known as the 12-level cap and rank system, which had a greater and lesser rank for each of the 6 Confucian virtues, and each virtue had a specific color associated with it. Court officials who held the positions of daigi and shogi, meaning greater justice and lesser justice respectively, had to wear white uniforms.
As off-the-wall as it sounds, the 12-level cap and rank system had a profound influence on color psychology in Japanese society, alongside the native religion of Shinto, where white is the color of purity and often employed in the exorcism of negative spirits, just as Naoto does in confronting her shadow self.
Naoto's ultimate persona obtained after completing her social link ties in all of this Japanese history and color psychology. Naoto's ultimate persona, Yamato Takeru, is based on Prince Osu, a legendary hero from Japanese history. Osu was the son of Emperor Keiko, the 12th emperor of Japan, which meant that he lived in the 1st and 2nd century CE, but the oldest known account of his existence is dated to 712 CE, over a half century after the decline of the 12th level cap and rank system.
Emperor Keiko would frequently send Prince Osu to exact revenge on people who had betrayed the imperial court. Much like Naoto, Prince Osu often disguised himself as a member of the opposite gender in order to carry out his retributive duty. When Prince Osu died, rather than dying normally, he was said to have transformed into a white bird for his acts of bringing justice and purity to the imperial court. Persona 4 reflects this story very clearly with the humanoid and avian design of Yamato Takeru.
Naoto's background and personality might even be partially influenced by her connection to the Wheel of Fortune arcana. In tarot divination, the Wheel of Fortune is a card that represents change, though the meaning is determined by whether the card is upright or reversed.
At its simplest, an upright Wheel of Fortune is associated with beneficial change, good luck, opportunity, or a turning point in a person's life, while a reversed Wheel of Fortune is indicative of bad luck, unneeded resistance to change, negative external forces, and sudden, often uncontrollable change.
Prior to the party's encounter with Shadow Naoto and the completion of her social link, Naoto shows traits of a reversed Wheel of Fortune. She worries that the world won't take her seriously as a female detective, that her situation is bad fortune that she can attempt to control by passing as a male, and that the only solution is to keep assuming she's male, rather than try to change for the better.
With the acceptance of her shadow self and completion of her social link, Naoto transitions into the traits of the upright Wheel of Fortune. Not only is this a turning point in her life, but it's also a beneficial change as she begins becoming more content with her gender.
And finally, with Naoto's aspiration to become a detective, it should come as no surprise that a few lines of her dialogue have references to famous fictional detectives. In the Japanese version of Persona 4, for example, Chie compares Naoto and her family to the Kindaichi family, a reference to the fictional detective Kosuke Kindaichi. Created by Japanese author Seishi Yokomizo, Kosuke Kindaichi was the main character of 77 mystery novels published from 1946 to 1980. Despite being popular in Japan, only one of these was ever translated into English, which might explain why this line was removed outside in the international versions.
Chie's comparison might also be a reference to the manga series Kindaichi Case Files. Originally written by Yosaburo Kanari, the manga follows a high school student named Hajime Kindaichi, who is stated to be a budding detective as well as the grandson of Kosuke Kindaichi. Likewise, Naoto is a student at Yasogami High School and looks up to her grandfather as a role model.
In the Vita remake of Persona 4 Golden, Naoto compares Yu to the protagonist of a mystery novel she read as a child, whom she refers to as Sam. She describes Sam as a cool, tough, private detective who made frequent impulsive decisions when pursuing his suspects. Based on the name and description, she's most likely referring to Sam Spade, the main character of the 1929 detective novel The Maltese Falcon by Dashiell Hammett. Interestingly, in the Japanese version, Naoto uses Sam Spade's full name, making the reference much more direct.
And in Persona 4 Arena, Naoto's introduction line is, "The body of a child, the brain of a genius." This is a possible reference to the mystery manga series Case Closed, also known as Detective Conan in Japan, whose main character is a detective who has been transformed into a child. And though it might not add to the validity of this reference, the 6th volume did have Kosuke Kindaichi as its featured detective.
And with all of her connections to fictional detectives from manga and novels, it should come as no surprise that Naoto was able to become the main character of her own detective novel, Persona X Detective Naoto, set after the events of Persona 4 and continuing her story arc.
Naoto is, without a doubt, one of the most popular characters seen thus far in the Persona series, primarily for her backstory and growth over the course of the game, or, now counting her detective novel, the franchise as a whole.
And though it might not be immediately obvious, the use of Japanese color symbolism in her name and the use of tarot symbolism in her backstory add to how well written of a character she really is. And she's best girl. Period. This has been Character Development. I'm Austin, thanks for hanging out with us today. You can check out the previous episode on Asura from Asura's Wrath, or you can hop on over to my channel, Arcadea, and check out my video on why you should be excited for Persona 5. There's a lot of reasons. There's a lot. Thanks for watching.